Hi, so welcome back to Real Auto Reports right here at Real Auto Ranch. Today we have the 2015 Nissan Versa Note SR Real First Impressions video. Yes, with me, Jonathan McGrew, right here in Colorado. And today we're going to talk about all of our first impressions of this all-new package for 2015 model year and what it means to the car, to you, and well, whether or not we like it. So let's take a look. All right, so from the front on the 2015 Nissan Versa Note, the biggest change that you're going to notice in this particular test car is that this is the SR, giving you a unique front fascia for the Nissan Versa Note. And actually what it does is it adds these fog lights and a little bit of detail down here. And something else for 2015 we should note is that fog lights are also added to the SV model, the step under this. So from the front, you're not going to see a whole lot of difference, but you're going to see that it is this fairly large front windshield as it was before, with a little bit of detail line here pointing down into the front design of the grille. You have your big Nissan badging, of course, and that's pretty much everything that you get from the front. It's a short nose, easy to park, so you won't have too much trouble in town. And you have a large windshield area because of this kind of cab forward design, and this little bitty windshield wiper to help keep it clean. Those are just some of our impressions, but what's great about that is you have this nice big windshield wiper to keep the majority of the windshield clear for your vision when you're driving in the rain or the snow or the inclement weather. It's a neat car. I like it. It has everything nice and tidy up front here, giving it some personality. And also notice for the SR, you have the black surrounded headlights, which is also different from the other models. Let's go take a look at the side and we'll see what's different for the SR there. All right, so from the side, of course, the Versa hasn't really changed much because, well, it was just introduced last model year. But it is a little different in the SR in that you have the turn signals in the mirrors here, and actually one of the changes for 2015 is this mirror design is slightly different than on the previous model year. Also, you have these lovely 16-inch machine-faced wheels. You're going to notice the dark color along with the machine front. That is pretty cool. It just gives it a little bit more, I don't know, pizzazz to the vehicle, makes it feel a little less economy, a little bit more sporty. And it'll fit in with things like the Honda Fit, which is a vehicle I hadn't mentioned yet, in comparison with this vehicle. It is a vehicle that'll compete well in terms of its design because it has a nice tall roof line, so you have good headroom. And then remember the squash line that I mentioned in the last review that we did on this vehicle, which is this line here. It's a ball hitting, going down, hitting the ground again, and then coming back. That's pretty cool in terms of the design language that the Nissan people put into the exterior part of the vehicle. Also, the SR adds this rear spoiler, and notice down back here the rear flaring of the rear bumper, which we'll show you as we move around to the back. So let's go check it out. All right, so from the back, again, we have the rear spoiler that gets added for the SR package here. You have your SR badging, of course. You have your rear lift gate, which is manual, but easy and light to open with good lift up. I'm fairly tall, about 6 foot, and I can get under this lift gate, which is great. It means you will be less likely to hit your head on it. You have a nice load floor here, and you also have the variable load floor storage I think we showed in our previous generation. Look at how much extra space that gives you in terms of depth. And then you put this back and you have it as a kind of a hidden storage, and then your load floor is level with the bumper height of the car. Pretty cool feature that Nissan has added to this vehicle just in its general design. It was there last year as well when we looked at it. Now, of course, you've got to manually close this. You have your rear wiper, and then you have the SR features here, like this carbon fiber look along the back part of this bumper, and a little bit of interest and flaring here that you can see along the back. And we'll kind of fade in as we're talking the back of the previous generation, and you might have seen us doing this as we were talking about the front and the side as well, just so you can get this difference between last year's model and this year's with the SR package. So that's really all the details here from the back. Let's go take a look at the inside. Okay, so from the driver's seat, not a lot has changed since it is a pretty new car, just introduced last model year. But the SR adds a few little detail pieces like these suede seats. Notice the orange contrast stitching and the nice stripe down the middle. Here you'll find that both front seats and rear seats. The suede-like interior, from a first impressions perspective, it gives it a nice feeling, makes it feel a little bit more luxurious, but not quite as luxury-like as leather, and there are no heated seats in this particular model. However, the suede, the one thing you're going to want to watch is that it does kind of grab hair and stuff on it, so it might require a little bit more diligence in the cleaning department. However, everything else is going to be pretty much the way it was when you saw it last, except for the trip computer details in the gauge cluster. Everything's easy to find, easy to reach. You have nice patterns in the door, some nice finishes on the dash, the gloss black around the center stack, and of course the satin finishes on the side. They've done a lot to make this vehicle feel upper end, even though they know they're trying to offer it to you at a value price. Remember this one coming in right about, I don't know, somewhere about $19,000 if you hadn't looked these up before. From a driving position perspective, you're going to be very upright. The wheel's going to be at a bit of an angle. It is adjustable with this height here, but that's not really going to change the pitch of the wheel as it's facing you. So you do drive kind of more at an angle than you will in a sports car. All in all, though, the materials are nice, the inside is fairly roomy, and the back seat is excellent for this size of car, and we like that variable load floor in the cargo area. Let's go check out what's under the hood, and then we'll take this out for our first driving impressions. All right, so from a first impressions driving perspective, what can you expect from the 2015 Versa Note SR from Nissan? Well, the SR is their new model, and it doesn't really change how it drives other than you get 16-inch machined wheels. This vehicle has about 109 horsepower and 107 foot-pounds of torque, mated to the CVT, or continuously variable transmission. I actually think it's pretty peppy, all things being equal. This is a vehicle that when you first step on the gas, you notice the noise because it is an economy car, and it has a little bit of lag until it gets up into the upper RPMs, but it might impress you how quickly it seems to be gaining speed, even though it doesn't rocket you back and set you back in your seat. The steering is a good weight, and the center feel, well, it's very much a Nissan driving experience in my opinion, in the fact that the center feel is a little numb for my tastes, but it's not something that would make me not drive the vehicle. In fact, when you're driving, the weight of the vehicle the weight of the steering compared to the size of the vehicle makes it feel sporty, makes it feel like you can whip it around into and out of corners without having too much trouble. And then you can do things like this. Whee! Okay, so you can do quick U-turns and get going again. And we're back up to 35 here in the Versa Note. It's a vehicle that if you're looking to drive in town, you're going to want to compare this with the Toyota Yaris and things like the Ford Fiesta. It is a vehicle that, well, makes you want to drive kind of fun and sporty. It's a good looking vehicle, and honestly, for the size of the car, it has good room. You're going to notice that kind of large windshield, cab forward kind of look. It's got that kind of wedge shape, and the SR has the different front and rear fascias. The thing that, from a driving perspective, that I guess I mind about this vehicle the most is really this driving position takes some getting used to, because it is more upright. The steering wheel is at a bit of a pitch, and for me, I've got the seat all the way back, and I'm only 6 foot, and my knees are still kind of bent when I'm driving. So it is a driving kind of characteristic of these economy cars in the way that they work, but you have really good rear passenger room still with the seat all the way back. So you can tell it's not meant for super long distances. It's meant for in-town commuting mainly and being able to whip in and out of parking spaces. So from a first impressions driving perspective, it's definitely a vehicle I would check out if I were in the market for one of these economy compact cars. So, well, that is the real first impressions driving. We'll have the real wrap-up coming up next. So that's the real first impressions video edition on this 2015 Nissan Versa Note SR. This vehicle will come in at a as tested price of about $19,000, just a little bit over. It is a vehicle that is new for 2015 in the sense that the SR model is new in the Versa Note, and that adds, well, this unique front fascia, the fog lights and the look, the rear fascia as well, and the suede-like interior with that neat orange stripe that you saw throughout the video when we did our interior shots. It's a vehicle that won't really change the performance, so from the last time we saw the Note about a year ago, you're going to have the same 1.6 liter four-cylinder engine with 109 horsepower and 107 foot-pounds of torque. This vehicle will be, well, in our tested version here, mated to a CVT transmission, or continuously variable transmission. So you will have some of the noise issues that people have complained about in the past because it does rev up, and we talked about this in the Sentra and in the Note last year as well. But we think that all in all, the variability and the usability of this CVT really do mate well with this 1.6 liter. It gets up to speed quickly. It doesn't feel like you're straining to get on the highway, and you can cruise at 70 miles an hour without too much problem. It is a vehicle that also gets 16-inch wheels added to it, which makes it look pretty snazzy, and this teal color is also pretty cool. So the SR is a package we think that will be pretty popular, slotting in just above the SV and just below the top of the line SL. Now there are 5 packages to choose from in the Nissan Versa Note, so there's bound to be one that fits you. Great for in-town, easy to park, and a pretty good driving experience. We'll have to give you more details though in our real video, the real review. Make sure you subscribe, leave us some comments, and we will see you down the road.